Hey guys, Peter, can you stick that in the original video and in the second one too, this link? Yes, my live stream's Cactus Raymond. Really sorry about this. My tablet dropped out several times. We'll give people a minute to come in, but my tablet keeps dropping out. I start streaming and it just crashes. So I'm not sure what the problem is there. It might be just a YouTube update. It's been playing up for a little while because it hasn't been wanting to stream horizontal for a couple of weeks. So maybe there's an update that I need to do. But yeah, I was struggling with that. Sorry. Bad echo. I'm doing this on the iPhone because the tablet crashes. I'm not sure why. I can't believe you keep watching this crap. Like, to be honest, I just can't see it. Hopefully someone's posted in the original chats. Is it in portrait? Really? Audio is better. Okay. We're back up to 9, which is awesome. This is what a good audio track sounds like, Mark. Look, this is terrible. I don't know what's wrong with my tablet. It's crashed twice and it can't get back to the stream. Not sure. Anyway, there's a few people here and you poor fishes. I can't believe you're actually watching this. But anyway, and all you're going to see is like absolute raining chaos. Like, seriously. Anyway, who's here? Peter. James P. at the Shed Shop. Mark Shed Talk today. Tea and biscuits. Hello. Stuart, hello. Adam Carmichael. Bit of congrats on the new job there, Adam. Now, we've got another problem here. It's not going to be the morning. It's not going to be the evening for this. Didn't randomly explode. That's good. Bill, good day. John Dillsaver, good day. Katana, hello. Now, crazy crew, I have warned newcomers to the live stream that honestly, you're all a bit odd. But anyway, you must be dedicated. I'm not doing real well here with devices, just so you know. The whole devices thing is sort of a little bit haphazard tonight. Raymond made it. G'day. Anyway, we have had our termites inspected. That's what's happened this week. Termites have been inspected, been found to be happy and alive and contented and fat and all that stuff. And we can move on with life. They passed. However, to do the whole, medicated the answer, to do the whole termite inspection, which is not actually to check the health of the termites if anyone lives anywhere else but Queensland where they have termites. It's actually to make sure there isn't any, because wooden framed houses and termites don't mix. They tend to cave in eventually. So you try and keep them out. So let's have a look. This is probably the emptiest you will ever see this room, and we're still working on it. So there's lots of stuff to put back in. I was waiting for that. I nearly put it away. I should have put it up. Anyway, I'm sorry. Raymond, you had to be first. So we've had a rearrangement. We've moved the steel rack over here in the corner, underneath the spark plug collection there, see? This is for Katana's benefit, because they weren't particularly sure exactly how unhinged I am, but there we go. That's pretty well sums that up. We've also moved, the reason we moved that and put this cabinet here, which you can't read the cool sign writing on the side, but we put this over here because this handle on the tailstock was running into the other cabinet, if we remember. Astute listeners will, or astute viewers will remember that. So I've fixed that, which was good. So the Lorch lathe cabinet is here on the corner. We've taken this shelf out. There was a shelf here, full height. It was a real pain, actually, because it blocked the room in and it was full of useless junk that no one needs. So what I've done there, if anyone's interested, is I've moved this over that much so that goes in the corner. And I've got rid of the shelfy thing. And put it over here in the sort of in the doorway. So I've screwed 4 sheets of that crappy particle board stuff that shelves together to give a decent, 30mm, 40mm bench top. So it's got a good bench top. And put this over here, which is kind of cool. So that's that. We haven't got this up and running again yet. It's all looking a bit chaotic, but I'm sort of liking the position of it there where it is now. So we've shortened that cabinet down and put that there. So I've got a decent workbench there if I get rid of some stuff off it. I've still got this one here, which seems a little bit too big. That was over here, right, on top of the materials rack. Not all that helpful over here because you can't get into that corner and you can't get these drawers open if you put it here. If we had something that was about sort of 500 millimeters, what's that, 20 inches or something long in there, that would be all right. But it's not a lot of space and it's sort of in the way. So I've decided to downsize some stuff and get rid of most of this. We'll get our lights put up and put all the rest away and clean the cupboard out properly because it's sort of fairly full in there at the moment. And get rid of all this, or some of this stuff, and put some other bits away. Then if we're going to put a 500mm shelf unit, it might as well go in there so we can still get the door open, full height. And that would be more useful because you can actually get to it. You don't have to you can't get to the end of this when it's there. So that's the theory. We're going to move this pegboard, or half of the pegboard down onto the bottom here. And we're going to put a cabinet in there, maybe 400 square and full height. So that's that. There we go. We're settled. There we go. So, what else have I done? I've sort of been messing with this because if you remember, well, that's another thing. We've got to find somewhere to put the doors, and I would like to have them shut It's nice. So there's more light in the room when they're shut. It's like this big black hole in the corner. So we're going to work around it. We're going to get rid of some stuff. I was working on this. I don't know if anyone remembers back that far. I've been saying I've been working on it, but I haven't actually done very much. So, last week we looked at the radio control car, which is in this white box, the Land Rover. And the new CV joints, constant velocity joints, or cardins, or universals, or whatever you want to call them, that were on the front. So I thought they looked a bit weedy, really. So I printed up a double-sized one, and that's way too hefty. Like, this is chunky. They don't need to be this big. So technically they're universal joints. Well, not, yeah, they sort of are. This doesn't do it for me. All right, it's too big. So we're going to go down a size because I don't think we'll bust the ones that are on the Land Rover. We just use them. They look pretty solid. So we're going to go down at least, might blow them up 1.2 or something like that, and start messing around. Going to make an insert to go in here with a pin across it so that that stays retained nicely on there. There we go. Just in case you were asleep, I just dropped the phone. So we're going to make a piece to go on that end. It's a quick release there. And we're probably going to make a piece with a square on it, with a bolt in the back. For the pipe in the middle. Go looking in this cupboard here for that, but it's over here. So this, I'm not 100% happy with this end, how it locks on, but this drives through here. It's a ball joint, is exactly what it is, yes. And we're going to put plastic ones on this, or if anyone knows anything about getting these 3D printed in metal, that would be very nice too, but I think they've got to be a bit springy to actually attach. So I don't think that's going to work. They should put separate plates in them. So I think probably plastic's the way to go, and I think they're pretty solid. I don't think it's busted. So that's what I've been doing. Just, this is for James because he always asks, but that's the progress. I've been messing around, working on universal shaft. No progress on the guard. So that's that. I don't think the plastic's going to break. I had the smaller one in the vise with a spanner on it, and I was a little bit impressed with how much force before it slipped out. I don't think it'll break. I think it'll slip out. But there's a crap load more force required on this than you would expect. So I'm going to try it. But the beauty of this is that there's no backlash in it much. Like, very, very little compared to what we have here, which has got way, 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 way too much. So we'll see how that goes. So for the people who are asking, there is a little bit of progress on that. There's not very much, but there's a little bit. And it's all moved over and it's in the right spot. So it's had a clean out and it's all gone back together. We may do something about these pedals at some point, but we've got to get a box up from from Stewart's in Tasmania before we do that, and I don't know when that's going to happen, depending on economies and weeks off and other opportunities and things. I'd like to go down and pick it up, but I don't know when. It doesn't seem to affect it, Adam, if we're asking the question. With the universals that I had, I've done quite a bit of thread cutting with it, and it doesn't seem to affect thread, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue. People say it's not clocked right, or it's not this, or it's not that, but I really don't think it makes any difference. That's what I'm thinking. My tummy's rumbling. So, that's one thing. Now, we will address the elephant in the room, because we all know it's here, and you've all seen it. I've had several comments about it, I think, already. Dances with the Halfbacks, good evenings. Adam, do the maths for me, because I'm not sure. But I don't think it's going to matter much. Thank you, Dan. Anyway, there's a Stewart 400 engine here in bits. Right, there's still one in bits. The rest of the bits are down there in that round container underneath the steam chest of the Bayer Peacock steam pump. And there's other bits elsewhere. There's bases there, and the spacers and the flywheel and stuff's in there. And anyway, when I get this bench clean, I may make a bit of an effort to put that back together at least and assemble it, even if it's not going to run. So at least we've got an engine that kicks over and looks like it's going to run, and you can all ask me about it every week. This is an engine I built over a period of about 4 years from drawings in a very early magazine. And to be honest, it's never run properly, and I'm not sure it was ever supposed to run properly. And I can see half a dozen niggly little things. If we sorted it out, it might have more chance. But some of them are big jobs. This, on the subject of steam pumps, this is a little OB Bolton steam pump kit that I've had since I was about 15 or 16, and I've never ever finished it because it's a bit of the Scotch crank system's a little bit of a cow. But I'd like to get in and finish it one day. Dad did a lot on the cylinder, etc. I think it's got actual ball bearings in it. Stuff like that. But there's a casting missing or a casting damaged over time, and I gave up. But the castings are available now. So at some point I'd like to get that finished again. Anyway, that's something else that's on the bench here. Who's following along? Don't have any lights in here yet because nothing's hooked up. What other stuff? There's absolutely no painting got done this weekend, which is a bit disappointing. I've got projects here everywhere. I've got in front of my cabinets inside the cupboard, there's about 4 signboards that I haven't actually made any progress on that you've seen already. So, there's that. There's other various engines. There's a chirpy boiler there that needs to be posted off at some point fairly quickly. It's ready to go. I've just got to post it. So don't tell Chirpy, but I'm going to get onto that. There's some bits for a hardness tester for Bill Baggins that have got to be sent away too at some point. It's starting to look more like a thing, but now I've had a clean up. Maybe we'll get some more done on that. There's this engine here, which I haven't made any progress at all on this week. Sorted out all the bits and put them in a box, but there's nowhere near any more progress happening. Just don't think it was a thing. So, progress that is. Having said that, I rearranged my bookcases, which is a bit of a problem. I'm not even sure I'm ready to show you the bookcase situation, because I'm not sure how good they are. We can have a look and then we could come back to this other thing, which is, if anyone's been looking at Facebook, would probably worry about me. I think you're right, Adam. It only matters if there's a lot of bend on them. 2-inch Delrin laying around. I need a light. Here. Fridge. If there is, it'll be black and it'll be... Oh my gosh. I'll have a look after stream. It's in here somewhere. I reckon that we could have about 4 or 5 inches of it somewhere. I just feel like there probably is, but I've got no idea where. I've got a piece of yellow plastic there, which isn't big enough, but that's really nice stuff. That'd work too. Don't have that. Anyway, got some cast iron. If you want to make them out of cast iron, I've got cast iron. They will seize up though. Anyway, it's probably in there somewhere. I'll have a look later. I've got a feeling I've seen a bit in the last 24 hours. No, ignore that, Dan. Oh, ignore that, Bill. Let's go and have a look in here. This is pretty brave, because this is not any less of a train wreck in here than anywhere else. But this is the bookcase situation. This is Model Engineer, just in case you were wondering what Model Engineer looks like for about 60 or 70 years. That's the laundry basket there, ignore that. This is some of the Model Engineer, so just so you know what we're up against here. Volume 65. July the 2nd, 1931. So this is mostly late 20s and 30s stuff. This one on here, there's not real order on it. We need to rearrange it. This is mostly more modern stuff over here. I'm still sort of putting stuff away. Like, you've got no idea. A lot of bound copies here, a lot of other books, and some 50s and 60s stuff over here. So this is the train wreck. There's an awesome poster there from Great Dorset Steam Fair. There's a couple of Jeff Marshall script and casual posters. And that's the other room that no one ever sees. Anyway, that might be the first and last time you ever see it, but it is at present a bit of a train wreck because I had everything out and just sort of loaded it back in last night. Anyway, here we go. The library hasn't grown much at all in about 3 years, so that's good. Now, this book is a favourite. Anyone who hasn't read this and is looking for something to read, anyone who watches this channel who would like something to read anyway, to further their minds and to awake passions, etc., etc., you should get this book. Hey, Matt. This book, which is written by Lyle Cummins, who was managing director of Cummins Engines and son of Clessy Cummins. William Henry, g'day. This is the history of the internal combustion engine. Really dry, riveting stuff. But it's quite well written. It's not written like a textbook or a history book. It's written as a more... Yeah, there's a lot of references and concordances and things, and a lot of factual photos and things of heat engines and gunpowder engines right through to Diesel's engine. But quite a good book. There's another one by this author too called Diesel's Engine. About his family business, more or less, in Clessy Cummins, and bringing the portable diesel to America and stuff like that. Or in fact, actually making a portable diesel engine, which is kind of cool. Anyway, not to everyone's cup of tea. There are those watching probably that find that a bit dry. But I got it out and I was looking through it. And on the same shelf, there's this... I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. I have no idea what you're talking about. I believe you might even have the wrong channel. So, anyway. Anyway, we don't know anything about that, right? We don't know anything about the cream-coloured engine with the blue stripes and the blue flywheel. Excellent. It's a very nice paperweight if we put it back together. Watt engine, that's exactly right. Anyway, this book, this folder, this grey folder, which is not anything written on the top of it or anything. Chirpy, g'day. This is the book of US Patent Office patents from before 1900. You got stuff from guys like this dude who's August Otto. Nicholas August Otto built a thing called a four-stroke engine, or the Otto cycle, which powers still about 98% of family cars today, and probably 30% of commercial vehicles, something like that. But there's a patent from 1877 for an engine with valve timing, which is a four-stroke. So it's pretty cool, and how it actually works. If anyone's actually interested in this stuff, it gets me a bit because I think it's pretty cool in between steam engines and stuff. J Charter. Patent on a flame ignition engine. Not sure why that's in here. John Charter. A few John Charter, we'll gloss over them. But then we get to this dude named Hopkins. George Hopkins had some very smart ideas about valves and two-stroke engines and porting and stuff, I think. And one of his engines was this one, which is he built a couple of or a few inverted engines. Patent 1883 is this one. It's very cool. It's got a governor and all. So it must have been actually capable of racing off, which we wouldn't have said about many 1880s fuel cell engines or internal combustion engines or even external combustion engines. They went to what they went and they didn't really need a governor. But Hopkins, some cool stuff from Hopkins in various different guises, different ideas. Several Hopkins patents. A horizontal engine. This dude here, J.J.E. Lenoir, and his engine, Jean-Joseph Lenoir of Paris, France. This guy was pretty much a gas engine pioneer. This was double acting like a steam engine, and it was not particularly efficient and run very hot, but it did actually work and actually powered stuff. Love these drawings, but if you read up on Lenoir and his engine, is sort of a contemporary of Otto's 1861 Lenoir's engine. So it's going back a bit. It's not long after Ravaz, really. But anyway, when you get through this book a bit, there's this little engine by George and Ian Hopkins of Brooklyn, New York. This is a bit interesting. I still like tech drawing like this. I really like these drawings. This is Hopkins' little inverted two-stroke, which by 1885 everyone was trying to get around or find something that wasn't painted by Nicholas August Otto, and consequently MAN Engine Company, and wasn't sort of subject to some fairly hefty royalty payments for using. So there are all these things that were built. And anyway, it's quite a cool little engine. It's inverted, and it's got the ports in the cylinder, top and bottom. There's a skirt in the bottom of the cylinder and up through the top. And it's got, if we have a look here, it's got an open flame here for ignition. So there's a Bunsen burner flame, and as this port's uncovered and it keeps going up, it sucks the flame in and fires the gas, which shoots this up past the ports and gives you compression in the top half of the cylinder. It gives you power in the top half of the cylinder, which actually burns the gases and then the flywheel, big heavy flywheel, brings this back down and exhausts the gases out to the outside, with a timing valve, which I presume controls the speed on that cam. I guess that's probably because the exhaust port timing is controlled by the skirt on the piston, which comes down past this gap here, or between this piece of the base and the high cylinder head and the body, and drops down through here. And I'm guessing that, like the Otto and Langdon, that speed is controlled by this exhaust poppet valve, which lets the exhaust out at a time that slows the power, that slows the exhaust stroke down enough, and still empties the cylinder, so that when it comes back up, it picks up gas here as it comes past this valve, or two valves. Looking at the top of it here, there's an air intake with a non-return valve, and a gas intake. So it brings them in, and then it fires as it pops up to the end, and this is your power stroke from here to here. And the exhaust stroke controls the speed via this valve, which operates off the cam. Now, that's clear as mud. I'm sure you've got that sorted. But this isn't it's not a compression engine like a modern four-stroke, or like Otto's patent. Otto's patent compressed the fuel and got a lot more power out of it, and was therefore a much more practical machine. And that's why we made car motors by it, Kurt, and we still do. But this is kind of interesting. I think the other thing that's interesting, if we look, is that the crankshaft's offset. The valve lifter off the cam is actually offset a bit, but the crankshaft's offset here, which gives us, depending on which way it runs, and I'm not sure which way it runs, but it gives you a difference in timing. It's a longer stroke lifting it out and putting it in, or the other way around. So you've got to work out which way it'll run so that your ignition and fuel timing are right. So it's all very interesting. I really kind of, I think this is pretty cool. Probably anti-clockwise. Thanks for the technical help. I would have to build a model and sort of work it out if I was going to do anything with it, and I'm not. So there's just a Bunsen, and this is just town gas. It's got a leather bellows on this pipe, so the pipe goes through with holes in it, and there's a leather bellows on it. This is common with town gas engines. And before the bellows, your Bunsen burner comes off here. So the Bunsen comes off this pipe here, and then it's got this leather bellows, which is basically it's a compression, or it's like a balloon. Otherwise, when this fires, if this engine backfires, what you end up with is a gas force going down here. And if this is operating on town gas, the issue is that everyone's lights in the street, or everyone's ovens and lights and so forth and so on, actually get blown out every time it fires. So that was a bit of a problem with natural gas. So the bellows is there so that if there is a backfire, then this takes some of that pressure out and it doesn't travel back down through the line and blow people's gas mains off the wall or the back out of their oven or so forth and so on if they're trying to light it at that particularly given time. So that's why that's got a bellows there. If anyone's interested, that's all pretty random stuff, and I appreciate that. No, you know, you're not any way obliged to take this information on board, but that's why. I don't think it's probably a flame problem, Peter. I think it's more a blowing out candles problem, and if you happen to be lighting your stove next door at the exact same time that the engine fired, you may find that you sort of go up in a ball of fire, which wasn't particularly desirable in Victorian times. But Mark, you're right, there's a big offset here, like quite a big offset. The John Deere, actually, the D model John Deere has, I think on the full size one, it's got like 3/4 of an inch offset. And I understand why they did that and the reasons for it, and it makes perfect sense. Why this thing would be, if this is a 6-inch bore, that looks to be about 3 inches offset, can only be to change or modify the timing events or the sequence of valve timing or the sequence of port timing in some way. But not sure. Anyway, in my downtime, I think I'm back, and I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, flat battery. I didn't think of that. It was like 20%. No, I didn't cross when I went to get that book or look in another room. We should have just got the cable. Anyway, I'm back, I think, and back down to 6 or something. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties are terrible tonight, like worse than normal. It's been that sort of week. I'm glad you're all capable of actually talking amongst yourselves. But we're back. Anyway. Well, you just saved me from myself then. That was good. That was very timely because you missed the bit that I was going to say. Yeah, you missed the bit I was going to say about actually catting this little engine up. Outback Shed, g'day. Might make a little model of this and cat it up and see how it looks and sort of animate it and see what actually happens and how it actually works. Which might be a nice exercise in learning CAD because I'm not proficient yet. So that's kind of cool anyway. That's all we were looking at was this Hopkins engine really in this book. There's a Samuel Lawson engine, or 2 or 3 in the back. And a Hartig engine, which is a little bit unusual. That's mentioned in this book. Hartig's sort of, I think the Hartig engine may have been somewhat successful. Somewhat. Probably not entirely, but I think it might have been more of a success than some of these others, which is why we don't see them around. Another Lawson engine, which is a Coke bottle shaped one. And more details on the Lawson engine and how it all works. Some of them were probably quite successful, like the Hartig, and I believe too that this Hopkins was probably a pretty good little engine, but very fractional horsepower compared to an Otto engine of the same size, because the Otto engine was quite efficient compared to anything else that was available that gave instant power and required very little maintenance and an unskilled operator to run it and stuff like that. The Otto was a very good engine. Some idea of what the Otto looked like. We can go through to there's a hot air engine mostly in here. Round pumping engines. I probably should add some bookmarks on this. There's Otto and Langdon's atmospheric gas engine or flame liquor engine, which was quite a successful, good runner. I built a model of this. It's in one of these boxes here, and I really probably covered, and I should put it back together. The trouble is with having two fairly big engines together, is you've got to have somewhere to display them. This could be made to run without too much trouble. This was an actual running commercial concern. The Otto and Langdon is a very good engine. Quite a big engine. If you look this one up, the Otto and Langdon's claim to fame was he invented a thing called the roller clutch, which is still used a lot today. If you're familiar with mechanical principles, I guess the roller clutch is still a big thing, but that was invented by a guy named Eugene Langdon, and this engine used a roller clutch, which is kind of cool. I might this week, time permitting, I might put this together, my version of this, and show you how it works. It's a flame licking engine. There's another one of them with the big, if you look, it's got the big bellows on the side to stop putting the lights out in town. So we come into Otto and Langdon, there's Langdon's roller clutch basically. There's a lot on the Otto and Langdon engine in this book, and I've studied that pretty comprehensively because years ago I actually built one of them. There's the Otto engine that's in that patent. Otto's experimental four-stroke engine, that's it. It's the one in the patent drawing. The side shaft engine is a very pretty little engine. It would probably make a very nice engine. I believe Wayne Grenning at Cool Spring Power has one of those. Very nice thing. It's got a slight valve on the front. And I believe it's still flame liquor because Leyden jars and spark plugs and things like that were all a little bit complicated back then. We come into the little inverted four-stroke that was very popular. I have a spark plug out of one of these engines. I think it may have been out of a Crosley, but it's the same design and the same patent. Word on the street that one of these plugs don't know if it's that one. I'm going to have a bit of a look. I'll zoom this in, eh? One of these plugs. I think it's that one there. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that up. Was actually pulled out of one of those engines when the engine was... I don't know what the story was. Back in the 60s, a mechanic friend of mine, an elderly mechanic friend, whose spark plug collection I inherited, actually pulled the plug out of that particular engine and kept it. Now, I'm not sure what happened to the engine or the remains of the engine, but that was in Tasmania, and that was actually one of those with the low tension magneto. Well, probably not like that, but they did have a spark plug. That's an igniter magneto, but so this book goes through Braden's ready motor and 1,000 other options. The Braden engine, which I believe the boys at Allen Foundry in the UK have just built a replica of one of those, and probably even got it going. It's a bit cool. And then there's two-stroke stuff, and if you're going to look for the Hopkins engine, you look for it in this section, but I had a good look and I don't think it's here. And then we get up to 1900, and then we start to become a bit sort of sensible and smart layouts, things like the Daimler Benz and the Maybach automobile, the Mercedes engine. A lot of stuff that's fairly modern, comparable to what we see at the rally fields today in fairly big quantities. So, Pressman portable engines. Another Pressman. And then there's another chapter here called oil engines, which were, interim solution, it says, which were ideas, really. And they sort of worked. The Meets and Weiss, which is a fairly modern hot bulb engine, similar to Land's Bulldog engine. And then there's this guy. That's the most handsome YouTuber in the world, actually on channel. That's pretty awesome. This guy with this sticker, you should check out his channel. Get him some views. He may actually go and make a video. This guy here, you should go and check him out. Here on the bench somewhere is his bottle opener, because I took it off the hook that it was hanging on over the weekend and put it here on the bench with the sort of the idea of hanging it back up. So somewhere here is his bottle opener, but that's his sticker there. That's the man, the myth, the legend, and the guy that all the women chase. That's him. And probably some of the boys. It's good to see you, Carly, and I'm glad you're still alive and everything. We worry about you a bit. It's very awesome to catch up. I didn't sell it, no. It's still here, and it usually hangs on the cabinet, but we've had a rearrangement here this week. So it's been taken off, and it's on this bench. As we speak, it's on this bench. And it is a very good sticker, absolutely. John Creasy's here too. Also an excellent channel. Making a Stewart number 9 at the moment. So pretty awesome. These guys are worth a follow because they make good videos. Anyway, this book goes roughly into diesel, which is sort of a very rough talk about Rudolph and nothing about Rudolph's life or Rudolph's experiences with the author's father. There's a book called The Diesel Odyssey of Classy Cummins that this guy's written, which is about the Cummins diesel and the making something that was basically a 20-ton stationary installation on another 20-ton of concrete into something that you could put in a self-propelled vehicle. So pretty crazy story about there's an anecdote in there about bringing about time testing, or time testing or trialing, running trials on some earth moving equipment with Cummins engines, and how the operators were instructed not to ever turn them off, but out in the desert with no one else to talk to, they were all going slowly batty because they had this diesel engine running 24/7 in sort of in the same block, and there were several of them and no one could get any sleep because they were supposed to be running 24/7. So the story is that several operators got together and conspired to stall them so that they had to be restarted, and so they could have some peace and quiet for a little bit. And in the middle of the sun, in the middle of the desert in America, in 1890 or 95 or something, the only diesel engineer that they could find to start these things was a guy who was a ship's engineer, and he'd been down below deck so long that he developed a fairly extreme light sensitivity and couldn't work in the desert in the middle of the day. So they the picture was of Classy Cummins and Rudolph Diesel out in the desert holding a sheet over this guy's head so that he could start the engine. With a blowtorch and all those sort of things. So it's a good read if you can find it. But so is this. It's a very good read. It's 1673, which was Ravaz, through to 1900. Ravaz. It's one of these subjects, you get me on, you can't get me off, and I really apologise for that, but there are subjects like that. What year was it? Ravaz was later than that. These are steam engines, heat engines. Ravaz was 1800s, but it's not. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but the problems that Ravaz had. Sorry, I'm just flicking through this to find the Ravaz engine. Ravaz had carriage problems. He built a self-propelled carriage with his engine, but he had issues with it. Yeah, he's in this chapter, I think. Ravaz's carriage. Brown's vacuum engine, that's not it. Ravaz had issues anyway. He had an engine that run by gunpowder, and basically put the charge in the top, and when the piston came up to the right, you put a torch, like a stick with a live fire flame on it, in the hole, which caused the explosion, and it shot the piston up, and then the exhaust vacuum pulled the crank down, or pulled the crank around, and shot the thing forward and geared in such a way that you only had to do this at a sort of a comfortable pace every time it started to slow down, with quite big carriage wheels and dray steering and so forth and so on, and a belt drive. So basically you stand there with your vial of gunpowder and puff a bit into it, and at the right point you put the stick in the touch hole, and it the piston going past sucks the flame inside the piston and bangs the flap shut and pops the piston up, and then when the gases are all burnt, the vacuum pulls the piston down, and that's what does most of the work. This was all very well, and it required some concentration, I imagine, because what Ravaz had issues with was that there was no actual differential. He just had a straight axle through the thing with a belt pulling on it, being the easiest way to move it along. And the problem, of course, being that owing to the weight of it and the size of the wheels and the very ordinary steering, like a pivot carriage on the front, when he got to the end of the lane, there was no way of stopping it, no way of turning the corner. And legend has it the Ravaz carriage sort of ended up in someone's barn through a rock wall or stone wall, and went back to the drawing board. So interesting stories about these things. So sort of, sorry guys, it's one of those subjects you can't get me off once you get me started. It was either that or the Lorch lathe. Diesel here is available in different qualities too. James, generally what you buy at the service station now is all pretty good, even truck diesel. There's red diesel and green diesel. Is there still red diesel and green diesel? I don't think there is in Australia. I think it's all just green diesel. I don't think they actually make like the red tractor diesel anymore. Maybe they do. I saw a post on Facebook on a Foden or an English truck page anyway, about someone reminiscing about some lady operator who had a couple of trucks that she was running. Used to run them with the diesel cut fairly considerably with kerosene, and to save money. But in the end, the company, which must have been Foden's, I think, didn't honour guarantees, because they discovered that the thing had been sort of basically red hot to actually run, and the preignition was pretty bad, and it was not doing the engines any favour. and she blamed oil companies and never got away with it. Ended up having to buy new trucks. But interesting stories. Peter, yeah, that's probably right. Don't know. But any diesel I seem to buy seems to work the same. Diesel prices in Australia are at a all-time low this week, so it's a bit strange. Just so you know. Anyway, I don't know if there's much else to say. We've sort of dribbled on for long enough, and there was a lot of dribbling. It is a bit of a low-budget shit show, and I'm sorry about that, guys. But we did see some famous visitors, like this guy here with this sticker, and John Creasy. Who else is here? There's some Mark's Garage, another very good channel. Bill Baggins, another good channel. If you're interested in stuff, go and check these guys out. Make some good content, absolutely. If I missed you, you should shout yourself out on this channel. You know that. Just shout yourselves out. It's all good. What you do is say, hey, Blue Ranch, and Mark Shed Talks here too. That's the way. Mark's got a good channel. He had a live stream last night. We looked at stuff and things. Particular pressure gauge, because no one can have enough pressure gauges apparently. And good stream. I let him go to bed. I don't know if he went to bed, but I did think, well, it probably looked like he needed some sleep last night. Anyway, now another very cool thing I saw today. Now this is completely off topic. Not that anything that we've discussed tonight was even on topic remotely, and I appreciate that. But completely off topic, there was a post from a YouTuber named Itchy Boots today, which is very, very cool, because Itchy Boots broke a collarbone in Africa, Northern Africa, back in March or something, and has been back in the Netherlands recovering. Take care, Bill. And anyway, there was a post this morning on YouTube saying, there's a YouTube treadmill, fair enough. There's one from Paul Hamler, and also one from, and I will say that it was a very good video. There was, oh my gosh. There's one about Little Milling Machine, John. Oh my gosh, I watched it last night. It's a very good video from Joe Pye. It was a good video from Joe Pye. Anyway, Itchy Boots is going touring again. Within about a month, there'll be a new video up, apparently. So it's pretty exciting. Anyway, I'm out, I think. I've dribbled on for long enough. Really appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate you putting up with the technical difficulties. It was really terrible tonight, and I'm going to have to update or fix that tablet, I think, because it's a problem. And there's another KLM sticker there, just so we know. And anyway, I'm out, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys.